Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network presented by FanDuel. I am Max Loeb. He is Chevze coming off an abysmal, pathetic, I think the word I thought was just plain sad, 31-3 loss against the Chicago Bears yesterday, Zay. I'm just going to say it again. What a sad game. What a sad game.
Sad, cold, depressing, unfair. Just, I mean, typical in the words of a guy that we hate here in Cleveland. What a typical Browns moment. Am I right, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the walking into Chicago in the weather, the Browns should be a team equipped to, adjust to something like that. Practice temperatures, where you live, all that good stuff. I don't know if the weather played a huge part yesterday, but it certainly looked like the Bears were the tougher football team. They were more willing to block. They were more willing to tackle for sure. They looked like the tougher team that wanted to play in those elements more. And then you add in the talent, the coaching, all that stuff. Recipe for disaster. Makes sense. They lost by 28. It's the reality.
I mean, this just, you think back to how this entire week led up. I'm just going to read some names out. Denzel Ward, Wyatt Teller, Dylan Sampson, David Njoku, Aiden Huntington, Jack Conklin, Zach Zinter, Ethan Posick, Jerome Ford, Malik Collins. The list goes on and on and on of how many players were on, just not simply out there. I think the one thing I kind of go back to this press conference with Kevin Stefanski, and I would love some more clarification on it, because he talked about Cedric Tillman, the injury, and how I think he played 7 snaps. He said something along the lines of, yeah, he returned Friday, so we knew that we'd have him to be available if we needed. Like, brother, you're rolling out backups at every position, not even just backups at this point. You're rolling out guys who've been elevated from practice squads out here. You need Cedric Tillman at this point. So It was already set up to be. It was the good old Charlie Brown. We knew what was coming before the game even came, but we just got to find a way to weather the storm these next 3 weeks, honestly.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. It's absolutely weathering the storm, because number one, we know no dramatic change is coming.
Yeah,
it's the reality of it. If I don't know, I truly think this is the worst, saddest, most pathetic loss I've seen in a while, to be honest with you. But even then, like, you got 3 weeks left in the season. I believe actually second highest chances at the number 1 overall pick right now as well. But regardless of all of that, yeah, you talked about it. The injuries leading into this game were brutal. Like Denzel Ward, Jack Conklin, obviously no David Njoku as well. The big one, though, and this was beyond this week, this was last week as well, was Malik Collins.
Mm-hmm.
This run defense has looked bad the past 2 weeks. It's looked bad without him the past 2 weeks. And this week against Chicago, the line can move people. Ben Johnson's great in terms of scheming things up. It is moderately understandable to not have your best performance as a defense on the ground against the Chicago Bears. It is not understandable against the Tennessee Titans, where Tony Pollard's ripping off 60-yard runs and the Tennessee Titans look like the prime New England Patriots with LeGarrette Blount just completely just pounding it down your throat. Time after time, you can't do anything about it. I felt helpless watching the Browns defense, whether it was a run, a play action, or, God forbid, a player with the football in space. There was nothing the Browns could do to stop them. Carson Schlesinger had an awesome game, 14 total tackles. Obviously, Myles Garrett, I believe they did credit him with a sack and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's just outside of those two guys. It's just, it's tough. The secondary did not play well. And that touchdown, the second touchdown to DJ Moore, I mean, Caleb Williams fits that ball into the tightest of tight windows, but at the same time, you have multiple DBs in the area. That ball's lobbed up. I mean, come on, guys.
There was a lot of wizardry going on. You would have thought it was a Hogwarts match. The way all these plays, the interception that I thought was a touchdown, that was a dropped pass, that was an interception. That one was crazy. I mean, you did mention Tony Pollard. He did have 104 yards this past week against the 49ers.
Yeah.
So to be fair, Tony Pollard might have caught some lightning at the end. But you talk about feeling helpless on the defensive side of the ball. I think part of that plays into just knowing the fact that the offense is non-existent and that there was nothing going for the offense. Q had 12 rushes for 21 yards, and it seemed like every time he touched the ball, it was a 1 yard, 2 yard gain at most every single time. Shedeur Sanders was your leading rusher with 2 rushes for 24 yards. It's negative 20 degrees outside windshield. And you find a way to not get an offense or get a run game established at all. However that may be, I get the offensive line isn't what it is, but that's when coaching comes in. That's when the play calling comes in. I mean, we watched DeAndre Swift catch 5-7 pitch balls that were misdirections and all of this stuff. So I just don't understand why we can't scheme up better run designs in terms of the offensive side of the ball to at least give us an opportunity to make something happen, because we still have the explosive players. And another week we're sitting here talking about, can we tip our hats off to the best player on this offense right now, Harold Fannin Jr.? This guy is incredible. I mean, 14 targets. We're talking incredible, 48 yards. Let me pump the brakes a little bit. I'm not going over the top. You talk about what value is behind Harold Fannin. If we can just put some of these pieces together this offseason, aka a damn receiver, which is the question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You mentioned that first round pick. Let's just say the Browns found a way to get themselves the first round pick. Are you picking up the phone to call the New York Jets? Because don't they have 2 first round picks this next year?
Yes, they do.
And they early, right? Are you?
Well, it depends. It's dependent on the Colts, which the Colts are, even though Phillip Rivers almost miraculously won. Well,
crazy.
Even though the Colts almost miraculously won that game with Phillip Rivers at quarterback, I want to correct myself. They still lost, and they're sliding down the standings now. Looks like them, whoever doesn't win the AFC North, probably going to fight for that last wild card spot, if I had to guess. But yeah, I think you are. And I think you're also doing with the Las Vegas Raiders, because the Raiders have the best chance right now to get the number 1 overall pick, if I am not mistaken. I know it's Raiders, Titans, Browns, Giants in terms of percentage chances. Right now, the Giants have it, but the Giants and Raiders play each other. I want to say it's this week. If it's not this week, it's next week. They do play each other before the end of the year. And obviously Cleveland and Tennessee have the head-to-head there. But the really interesting thing is the Jets, who look bad, but at the end of the day, they fight hard. And I could see them winning a game at the end of the year. It doesn't matter. That's totally something the Jets would do, regardless if they're in range to make that trade or not. I think you're asking the question to say, do you stay there? If you stay there, is it Carnell Tate? Do you take a receiver?
That's what I'm wondering. That's exactly what I'm wondering, because I just think this is a draft where you're like, there are way too many things that the Browns need to do. And this is a draft where you could potentially plug a lot of holes. And you talk about finding offensive linemen every single year in that back end of the draft. We know the Browns, they're talking about that Jaguars pick potentially being, I think it's 27 right now or 28. It's not looking good. But in that back end of the draft, you can find franchise, tackles at that position, and then coming into the second round like they did last year to double dip again to take that potential guy who should have been a first rounder. Like, they are setting themselves up to get another layer of this foundation set in stone with, the opportunity, knowing that Shedeur can still possibly be that guy. I think I'm not going to let this one game define if it's not, because guess what? Guess what he still did, Matt? Can you put back Max on the screen? Guess what he still did this week that we still hadn't seen all the season? 2 big explosive plays. Isaiah Bond, 2 receptions, 89 yards, 40.
And another missed one. I haven't fully delved into the film. I'd be fascinated to know if it's Shedeur or Isaiah Bond, but regardless, another opportunity missed. Yeah, there's another one on the table.
And when you talk about what do you want in the NFL, how valuable is the deep ball? He can throw the deep ball, and in every time, except for that one that you hadn't dived deep on yet, was in stride to Isaiah Bond.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a value to have. And his pocket presence, he's not afraid. I think the second ball, he took a lick on that shot.
He got crushed.
And it was in the bucket on stride. So, we need to pump the brakes on, he's a bust. I know who those people are, but I think they got a real opportunity this year to see what they can do with Shedeur as the guy and Deshaun being his mentor through it all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think anybody who wants to put the hatchet in Shedeur Sanders as he's not the guy, or wants to praise him as the guy moving forward, both groups are getting ahead of themselves. It's been four starts where you've seen great flashes and the flashes are absolutely there. And then there are moderately consistently things that you worry about. I watched the non-Jerry Jeudy picks, and I mean, they're bad. Like, that's the reality of it. It's to a defender who's staring Shedeur Sanders in the face in the slant window, and then it's CJ Gardner-Johnson who straight up just baits him into throwing him the football on a corner route. Like, it's things that people worried about with him coming out of college, but it's not things that can't be corrected. If anybody wants to sit here and say Shedeur Sanders can't be the guy moving forward because of these stretches of games or passes, not even games, passes, they're fooling themselves. It's way, way, way too early to do that. But at the same time, like, if we can't act so confident that Shedeur Sanders can be the guy based off of flashes. I think the complete game against the Tennessee Titans
Can I push back there a little bit?
Please.
Can I push back there just a smidge? Yeah. We knew after really that first game, but by week 3, week 4, we knew Baker Mayfield was the guy for this team. No? There was no question about it.
Here's the thing. I think there's the string of quarterback play has been so bad for so long that all Browns fans will clench to hope. Absolutely. And want that guy to be the guy. I don't think comparing this to Deshaun Watson in 2023 is fair, but there's a very similar thing there where you watched, the Titans game. You watched the comeback against the Ravens, and you're like,
but there was no real flashes, though. There was no real flash. We were squinting our eyes saying, yeah, these are flashes because of how bad it was. That we're talking about.
I think that's the hindsight lens. Deshaun Watson didn't throw an incompletion in the second half against the Ravens.
No, that was the game where we fully dove into it. But I'm thinking about how many explosive plays, how many throws in the pocket when he took licks. Like, I'm just talking about those type of flashes when we were looking like, yeah, this is Houston Deshaun. We didn't get many of those.
I disagree. I go back to the Cardinals game where he had an incredible deep ball.
In the dirt play, that was a good one.
There's the couple plays to Amari Cooper against the Titans as well. I know there's a busted coverage, but also the one along the sidelines where they said he stepped out of bounds when he very clearly didn't. Regardless, like I don't want to talk about him compared to Deshaun Watson or even Baker Mayfield. Like, I absolutely think Shedeur Sanders has the best chance to be the guy out of any quarterback on the Browns roster right now, especially if they don't draft one in the first round or really at all in this upcoming draft. But like, it's so hard to just watch 4 games of any quarterback and crown him yet. To me, it's not fair to him. It's not fair to any player to watch 4 games and say, this is it, unless it's been 4 completely nonstop, excellent performances, no mistakes, which it hasn't been. I want him to be just as bad as everybody else, but the reality is, like, it's 4 games that have not been perfect.
Like, it kind of leads me to a question I want to ask. Like, what would this world be if Peyton Manning was a quarterback in today's world with social media? Would he have made it through?
No. And that's exactly what I am trying to say here. Like, you want to go so far off the deep end to a guy like Peyton Manning, who
he had 28 interceptions with a 71 passer rating, 3-13 record, 26 touchdowns. He threw for 3,739 yards.
And recent example, go look at what people were saying about Caleb Williams last season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Drake May.
Not as much Drake May. I think people were on the Drake May train, but Caleb Williams for sure. And here's the thing now with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. I love Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I went down that road really, really far. Like, this is the savior. I still do think he's extremely talented, all this stuff. And it was a much longer, more consistent stretch of excellence last year. That fell off a cliff, and even fell off a cliff to the point where he was healthy and playing. Mariota has been better than him statistically this year. That's the reality. I know there's been moving parts in the offense. You just got to give it time. That's what I'm trying to say here. You got to give Shedeur Sanders. You got to give this Browns offense, hopefully with a new regime, different pieces next year, time. I do want to go back to the Browns offense, specifically the pass catchers, though, because I don't know if you saw. I was away for the weekend, so I saw when I got back on my phone Sunday, another, not cornerstone, but piece that was supposed to be a young foundational piece to this roster, Jamari Thrash, was straight up released on Saturday.
What was that about? The basically the preseason phenom, like, just up and gone? You're telling me he can't catch now? When we need receivers?
Yeah.
Like Malachi Corley, a guy that they just randomly picked up? Come on now.
It's insane. It's insane. And we had the question on Twitter from Megan Tripleton if we saw it, number one, but the thoughts on it. I mean, my immediate thoughts were, what does that say about the post process beyond, or sorry, not beyond, before this season with identifying talent? Because this draft class, unbelievable, like foundational pieces, transformative guys walking into your locker room playing football for your team. But before that, you're like, where is the consistent output? I mean, Mike Hall, who's been solid, still, missed more than half the season, right? You go back and look at some of the other players the Browns have drafted, foundational guys recently. Again, before this year, obviously JOK was awesome when he was playing. Fingers crossed he comes back. DeJuan Jones has been good when he's played, but injury prone, always hurt. Like, I'm trying to think recently, who are the guys the Browns have brought in the draft where you're like, yeah, foundational piece. I mean, Martin Emerson, but again, hurt. It's like, it's tough to keep looking at the draft beyond this year and feel confident in the process.
That's what made me ask the question earlier in the week where, like, how much of a input did Paul Podesta have in this drafting process? Because I feel like this draft was such an outlier compared to other drafts that we have seen. Like, you go down that list, sure, you found a couple gems along the way, but you go from finding a couple gems to hitting a gold mine, and you know what I mean? Like that, I don't understand that part of it. So that's why I'm leaning in that camp where I'm not done with the Andrew Berry stuff, because I want to see what Moore has. But the questions keep piling on week after week. Are they this package deal? And a lot of people feel like that they just should be, and I don't think so. I just think that let's see if Paul Podesta really had that much of an effect, because if this was the first time, think about every single year how they've deciphered power. It was always a collective decision. This was the first year they severed themselves from everyone, where they were like, Kevin's in charge of the guys on the roster, Andrew Berry's in charge of the guys putting the guys on the roster, and I'm in charge of doing da-da-da. Like, this was the first time they've done that. So let me see one more year Andrew Berry doing what he got to do, because he's cooking right now.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, I think the process they have in place now is exceptional. There is no team that had a better draft this year than the Cleveland Browns did. That's 100% the reality. Moving forward, you feel so confident in it. Now, looking ahead to 2026, the draft, the quarterback is kind of an albatross around the neck right now. Like, what do you do? Do you lean into somebody? Do you draft somebody in the first round? Do you bring in a veteran? Because Deshaun Watson's on the roster next year. Very more than likely, everybody's saying all this stuff. Are both rookies? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. And we have another question from Twitter, Pat. You can pull it up. The top heavy, quote unquote, part of the draft or feeling of the draft is bringing up an interesting point for the Browns potentially drafting a quarterback. Is there a world where this Browns organization drafts another quarterback for the first round in the first round if Mendoza or Moore fall to us? Then do you think this offensive draft class is top heavy with a steep decline after the first round? If not, would you be mad to trade back for future picks? I think the whole top heavy thing in the draft, to be honest, is not a cop out, but top heavy only exists if your evaluation process isn't great. The reality is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, every year there are gems. And if you find them, you find them. The top heavy portion is not really a thing if you draft well past the 3rd round. But the question, do you think there's a world where the Browns draft a quarterback?
I think Andrew Berry is a sucker for value. And I think if you told him that Mendoza fell to pick 4 and the Jets were sitting there right behind you, I almost be willing to bet that. And who else is behind the Jets? Is there another team that would need a quarterback behind them?
Right now, the two that come to mind are Vegas and the Jets. Arizona's interesting. Arizona could take a quarterback, assuming Kyler's gone, but it sounds like they really like Jacoby Brissett. So I'm not 100% convinced, but you could still draft the next guy behind him.
So maybe Arizona could be the sneaky play to pick up.
And the really, really scary one, and I want anybody watching this to clip this right now.
Uh-oh.
The Los Angeles Rams have the Atlanta Falcons draft pick, and Matthew
Oh.
Stafford might retire after this season.
You think he'll
So
do it? I don't know.
if the
If he wins
Rams win the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked if he
Jinx you
retires.
on
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah. If they win it all, why would you not ride off into the sunset? To be honest, him and Devontae Adams. Although I think Adams has one more year after this.
He's
I don't know.
balling though.
Oh yeah, he's playing exceptional football. He's just getting up there. You just don't know.
But this league is extending now. You seen Phillip Rivers come off the couch. How does that? If you're a player like, how does that not motivate you? Joe Flacco, Tom Brady obviously did it, but Joe Flacco came in and kind of took a step with it. Then you got Phillip Rivers. How does that not motivate you to be like, you know what? I'm about to keep doing this thing because medicine is so good now. They protect these damn quarterbacks so long. Matthew Stafford, how old is he? 39, 40, 42? Yeah. Like you talking about another 5 years of Matthew Stafford? Think about how many times we counted out Drew Brees.
Yeah,
we were like, oh, Drew Brees.
Stafford's 37, so not even like 37? At that point. The thing is, he is taking a beating as much as any veteran quarterback in the NFL.
And that Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I love Matt Stafford. I don't want him to retire. I just know it's a reality in the way. Number one, he basically said, no, like the Giants and Rams essentially had a trade in place to send him to the Giants. And he said, no, I'd rather stay in LA. Number one, that says probably wants to win now. Mm-hmm. Probably knows the clock is ticking. But number two, the structure of the contract basically gives him a little bit more money to play up front. I don't know. To me, it's not inevitable the Rams draft a quarterback early this year, but I wouldn't be shocked. They got 2 first-rounders. So regardless, is there a world the Browns draft a quarterback? Yeah. I think so, but they have to be so convinced on the guy that they do.
I agree with you.
I hate the trading up idea.
Oh my gosh.
Trading up, I can't get down with that. Trading down, I could totally see. I think they're much more likely to trade down than up. But even sticking at, assume you got a pick from 1 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with drafting Jalen Tyson's brother, Jordan, and bringing him to Cleveland as your number 1 wide receiver. There's nothing wrong with hopefully taking the best offensive tackle in the draft if you feel comfortable with somebody there. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think we live in a world now where we watched Andrew Berry trade down with the Jaguars, and you think you won that trade, even though the Jaguars pick is probably going to be not great for the Browns this year. And you're like, let's do it again. You want that rush again. Well, I don't know how much of a reality that consistently is. And Pat raised a great question. What does that mean for Shedeur? Would a new coach even want him here? That's the question too. Like, what if this coach who comes in loves Dylan Gabriel? Like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that could happen, right?
They got the coach for that already.
Exactly. That's why I don't think it will happen. But yeah, absolutely. A coach coming in has to love these guys. What if he doesn't like Deshaun Watson? Because all of this talk about Deshaun Watson being here next year, that's a Stefanski, Haslam, Berry experiment. That's what they called it. But if one of those guys is gone, is that experiment still going on? I don't know. I think there could be a team that potentially tries to make a move for him. I've said that a couple times. I've thought he would play at the end of the year to make that move more realistic, but I don't know. I think there's a reality that this quarterback room only has one of the 3 guys that are in it right now. And I'm not talking about Bailey Zappi.
I'm just looking at this draft board, bro. And we just talked about, like, the Rams could potentially be the guys that we trade with. They have 2 first-round picks that would fall perfectly in alignment to where that they would want to go. You would get probably both this year, and you'd probably get one more next year, no?
Maybe. I don't know if the Rams would trade up, though. Unless there's this guy that they need.
Mendoza. If Mendoza was there, Mendoza's not going to fall much further, and it would be the perfect transition to keep the Rams going.
That would be insane. I do think the Rams are absolutely a candidate to take a quarterback in the first round next year. I'm trying to think of who the comparable team. I always go back to the Falcons taking Penix when it made no sense, but like that to me is the best comparison of a team who may not need somebody, but they want to get ahead of it.
Now, what about the Dolphins?
It's another one. That's another one. However, I think the Dolphins are going to rip off a couple wins at the end of the year. So I think they could be outside
in the hunt.
I don't think they could be outside the top. Well, they could be outside the top half.
They're 13 right now.
I could see them outside the top 14, 15 though, for sure. Yeah, I think they're playing well. I don't know when you guys are watching this, but on Monday night, I already put it out there. I think the Dolphins beat the Steelers. No TJ Watt. I think they have a great advantage on the ground. Like, I don't know. This Dolphins team is undefeated since they changed GM. So I don't know.
Must be nice.
Yeah. The other one that Pat just mentioned too is the Bengals. I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati. I don't know if Joe Burrow requests a trade, but like,
would you trade for Joe Burrow?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Cleveland.
I don't know what it would take. And I also don't, well, I was gonna say, I don't think the Browns and Bengals would ever trade with each other. Well,
hey, we scratched your back.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
That's
I don't know. Do you think there's a reality Joe Burrow would actually request a trade? And if you do, how realistic do you think it is?
I have been telling I do a show on Wednesdays, as you know, on the round table, and I've been asking Zim this question for a couple years now. With the T. Higgins stuff, with the Jamar Chase stuff, with how they handled Burrow getting his contract. You think about all of the contract stuff that they have gone through and not protecting Joe Burrow and all of that stuff, not capitalizing on the Super Bowl run. Oh, I 1000% believe that Burrow will get his ass up out of Cincinnati if things don't go what need to happen within this next year or two, because okay, fine. You did bring back T. Higgins and you brought Jamar Chase, but I'm trying to win. And y'all not about that over here right now. So I think there's a world where Joe Burrow's on a different team at 3 years max, honestly.
3 first-rounders from the Cleveland Browns for Joe Burrow, deal or no deal?
Done. I couldn't sign it quick enough.
Wow.
If you told me that we could get Joe Burrow, the guy who already is familiar with Ohio weather, can yield you to a Super Bowl. Sure, the injury thing is a little scary, but you still got Shador back there. Shador gets to learn from Burrow. That's a negative.
Gosh, could you imagine that? Well, I think perfect world Shador would be cool if he learns from Burrow. A perfect world.
Trade him,
we don't have to see Shador if Joe Burrow's on our roster. But yeah, I agree with you. 3 firsts, especially because
it's a no-brainer.
You want to maximize rookie contracts. You got Harold Fannin Jr., Carson Schlesinger, Quinshon Judkins, Mason Graham. You also have Myles Garrett under contract for the foreseeable future. You're maximizing the core of your roster right now. I know we went back
with this defense, Max.
I know. Yeah. Well. We got to make sure this defense is intact next year. I mean, I love Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward has been healthy this year. It's been amazing to see. Got to make sure he's healthy. Mm-hmm. The enormous elephant in the room, and I've been pulling out hair talking about this since week 1, is nickel corner. It's been so bad this year. You need
that's where Martin Emerson. I think Tyson can't. I'm interested to see how, because remember Greg told us why it was difficult to play inside because of his size and having to guard bigger guys than him and tackle bigger guys than him. Tyson Campbell's bigger than Greg Newsome. I'm interested to see if Tyson Campbell can slide into that nickel spot and Martin Emerson can get back to his outside, and they have those 3 on the field, because they said the reason why they moved Greg out there is because they felt at their best when all 3 were out there. So I don't think, I think Martin Emerson enhances this, and we also get to see the versatility of Tyson Campbell. And if that doesn't work, you could say, hey, maybe Emerson, this is a contract year for you. We need you to be a little bit flexible and get uncomfortable. Let's see what you can do in that, because we know Emerson is a bigger physical guy anyway. So I think they got a little bit of flexibility if they do decide to bring back Emerson next year.
I agree with you. My mind immediately went to Denzel Ward going inside.
No.
You don't think so?
No, not just with the injury stuff. You'd be risking that even more.
I will say I think he's their best corner and run support. So.
He'd be laying that wood down.
Yeah.
Pause.
Oh yeah, but the thing is that's the bane of the existence of Denzel Ward's health, though. You're right. It's making those plays, but there's a cost when you throw your body in like that.
I know where I would love him at?
Where?
I would love, we've seen Charles Woodson do it. If he could shift to a safety position in this later thing where he can roam and just be that, I can't call him Ed Reed because Ed Reed was a natural safety, but just that guy back there who can scan the field and then come lay the hit down. How you think he can make a transition like that to prolong his career?
Yes, I just don't know if that would prolong his career. Like, I think you're asking him to
do more, essentially?
Be in the run game a little bit more, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it would he can make the transition. I don't doubt that for a second. He's got great ball skills, and he's very instinctual. The way he moves too, like his hip fluidity, all this stuff, footwork, it's exceptional, like arguably best in the league. I just don't know if it would prolong it. Like, I think it might shorten it if you put him in the box.
Yeah, well, never mind then.
That brings me to another question or another idea here. Caleb Downs. And we talk about the Browns potentially trading down, potentially moving their first round pick, depending on where it's going. First overall pick, you don't like the offers from people trying to trade up. Do you just take Caleb Downs?
I think that's when you get tricky. I think this is one of those drafts where you think back to the John Dorsey draft when he got tricky, right? He went off script with the first pick with Baker. No one really saw that coming. And then he went off script even more by going Denzel Ward. I think this is why I keep looking at who has 2 first-round picks in this draft coming up, because I think that you're going to be in a pickle where this draft order, the way it looks now, could be completely different by the time the draft comes around because people are trading up and all of these other things. And if you're telling me Caleb Downs magically falls to, let's just say, that 10 range, or he won't even make it that far. If he gets to that Arizona pick at 6 or 8, I think this is one where you're like, Carnell Tate's still on the board.
Yeah.
This guy's still on the board. We could trade this 28 pick and come back up and get a little bit aggressive. Like, would you be okay with a move like that if they got Caleb Downs and Carnell Tate and they forfeited, let's just say, that 28 pick and the first pick in the second round?
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, first pick in the second round's a lot.
Do we got 2 in the second round next year?
I don't think so. I think it's just their second rounder, if I'm not mistaken. But
I'm trying to think, would that be what it costs?
I don't know. It would depend on where you're moving to. Like, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough because that 25 to 35, 25 to 40 range is such a sweet spot for the guys that you think should probably be top 10 picks that other teams are overlooking or other teams may not want to draft based on need. Like Quinshon Judkins, who was taken at 36, Carson Schlesinger, though, at 33. Like, there's a lot of teams who are less inclined to take linebackers early like that. There's a lot of teams who are less inclined to take running backs early like that too. So I don't know. I love those picks. I love those 25 to 40-ish picks where you can sit there, take your guy. Maybe somebody wants to move up a couple spots with you too. You can get an extra 5th-round pick, 4th-round pick if you want to trade with them by moving down a couple spots. Like, I think the Jaguars pick, this whole discussion with it because the Jaguars are very good, has distracted us away from the fact that the Browns still are going to have very likely another top 30 pick, maybe top 25 pick, where you're still going to take an exceptional first-round player. I still think because the Jaguars are good, it shouldn't change our view on that trade. It shouldn't change our view on that pick. It's another
You could take that pick away and we still hit. You got Q and Graham out of it.
Probably. I don't know. Travis Hunter to me was hitting his stride before the knee injury. That to me, I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, I think adding in the pick, there's undoubtedly the Browns won that trade. But then take it away. I don't know. It's a tough discussion. That is a tough discussion. I also do think, and I saw this on Twitter a little bit this week, the discussion of the Ohio State running back, which one should you have taken, is at the forefront again. I mean, Travion Henderson looks exceptional. And I know Quinshon
both be right.
What'd you say?
Why can't it both be right? Like, they clearly
That's the world we live in. They will never be right.
they clearly both fit their situation perfectly. Like, it's not like who's to say that style of running works with what we got going right now? We think about how the offensive line has deteriorated. Q was literally number 1 after contact.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird to see that they're not leaning into this on a consistent basis. Like, I know Pat mentioned it too. The Bears are one of the worst run defenses in the league walking into this game. Jerome Ford's on IR. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Dylan Sampson was out. Like,
yep.
Get the ball to Quinshon Judkins. And I know you can't do that
Williamson,
the entire game.
Another preseason guy. Remember, we liked him.
Yeah. You can't bank on Quinshon Judkins having 30 carries every game. Like, that's the reality of it. But if you want to stay ahead of the change, which I
But
think
12?
12's too few. Exactly. And I also do think another low-hanging fruit in this whole thing that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet is special teams. I don't think it was a complete disaster this week, but you absolutely got outcoached and outplayed in that department again. I mean, the opening kickoff went to midfield. The possession, that next possession, the Bears punted down at the 1. It ruined the next drive. And if I'm not mistaken, the Bears scored a touchdown the drive after that, after they forced a punt. I don't know. It's weird to look at this team that's just so consistently bad in the same areas every single week and expect it to stay the same next year in terms of the staff, in terms of the key pieces. Like, Jerry Jeudy is a guy who we both talked very, very highly of this offseason. We even had Browns players talking very highly of him this offseason. I find it so hard to believe he's on the roster next year because of all this stuff.
What a segue that you kind of just rolled right in. Not on the Jerry Jeudy, but you talk about how to make this thing the same. I got a question for all of the Kevin Stefanskis. They're still out there, Max. They're still out there going hard for their guy. Why would you bring back? Explain to me why you should bring back a guy who was hired to be the coach to call plays, who then had to give up the plays back-to-back years, also while going 6-26 in a span of 2 years. Why do you want to bring that back? That's the question that I have, because you brought him in to call plays and he's doing it. Well, he's not doing it for the second year in a row. Do you know what consecutive is in the terms of Cat Williams? That means one after another, okay? So what are we doing here? Back-to-back years, you're giving up the thing we brought you here to do, and you're telling me, you know what? We're going to do it again the third year. You're going to be on the hot seat instantly the second the season starts. And the second the offense doesn't seem to go again, guess what we're going to have to do again? Give up play calling 3 times in a row. So, like, can you please answer me why you would want to bring that back when you literally, your job description was head coach and head play caller, and you're not doing that, Max? Do you have an answer for me?
I don't have an answer for you. And I think the play speaks for itself. But again, it's just, I watched that team on Sunday and it's just
quit.
Sad.
It looks like a team that quit. Let's just call a spade a spade. There's a couple guys out there with alter motor, and I know it's hard to say that they quit because they're out there in minus 20-degree weather. I don't mean that they actually quit like that, but we are in a professional setting, right? And there's ways where players can go about their business to let them know that they're just here to collect that check. We've heard players, I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to do some homework on that, but I know there's some Browns players that have came out and say, you know, when you get to that point of the season, you're not just saying you're going through the motions, but your main goal when you go out there is to not get injured and to collect that paycheck. Yep. Those are your two main focuses and things and like that. And when you have had the voice go stale over these past couple years, it seems like week after week now, statements are being made. How unprepared do you have to be to have the start of the game that you had this past week? How, like, it's just, those are things where it's like, now it's effort at this point. Your team is not showing you the effort as a head coach. And whether that's me putting the term and them quitting on you or whatever it is, the proof is in the pudding. Your eyes are telling us that, like you said, it's sad. What makes it sad? The effort is non-existent. That comes with, they're clearly not getting up for the task. They're clearly not being motivated enough to go out there to put in that extra effort, even though their record is what it is. So at this point, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And there's changes that need to be made, and we all know what they are. And again, I think they probably will happen after the season. Not going to happen at the last 3 weeks of the year. But yeah, I mean, it is a great way to look at this team. It's kind of a microcosm of the season, to be honest with you, where you can get up for these games, like at home against the Tennessee Titans. And granted, you know, they played okay. At home against the Titans, against the 49ers. Next week against the Buffalo Bills, it's going to be a very similar story where you're at home in front of these fans and
Steelers.
really play spoiler, and then you get the Steelers the week after that.
Like, you're going to let the Steelers come in here and punk you out again for the however many season at the end of the year? That's the type of thing that's really, like, we going to see how bad you want it, because this would be the same Browns as the Browns if they came in here and popped you in the mouth by 20, 30 to end the season, and they're off to the playoffs.
And to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to happen. I think if there's one game that I've seen the Browns get up for year after year, it is that Steelers game. Whether they win or not, that's a different story. But getting up for it and being willing to get punched in the mouth and punch somebody in the mouth, yeah. I mean, I trust the ability to get up for that. But like the Bills game, Pat said, it's going to be half Bills fans here. That's the reality of it. They travel well. It's a diehard fan base, great fans, diehard fan base that travels really well and is playing a really meaningful football game, where that same night, the night after, the Ravens play the Patriots. Look, Ravens defense playing well. For all I care, the Bills beat the Browns and the Ravens beat the Patriots. They're tied atop the AFC East. Like, this is a really meaningful game for the Buffalo Bills. And the Browns can play spoiler. That's the reality of it. The Browns can play spoiler. Huge opportunity to do it. Can you get up for that? I don't know. We haven't seen that yet, right? When's the last time you can confidently say the Browns got up for this game?
The Raiders.
But even then, it's the Raiders. Like, I don't know.
Mean, I think I don't want to say they got up for that Tennessee game. They got up in that third and fourth quarter. That was that was a possessed team. That was a man on a mission, and they just failed short. But
that was a possessed offense in the fourth quarter.
This entire year, that goes right into the whole head coaching thing. I'm looking back at these games, and I'm going through the memory bank quick. You are right. There is not one game this year where they got up for as a collective unit and played for. The Cincinnati game, we know how bad that start was. I mean, we couldn't do anything right at the beginning of that game. The Baltimore Ravens game, yeah, good freaking chance. The Green Bay game came at the grace of Judd and Myles Garrett. The Detroit game wasn't even a game. The Minnesota game was the Dylan Gabriel game when he threw the ball a trillion times and then threw it another trillion times the next week to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't get up for neither one of those games. The Miami Dolphins game was literally the epitome of you have one job and one job only, run the ball and protect it, with how bad the conditions were. Did they get up for that? Whatever. Call it what it is. The New England game, non-freaking existent. New York game, absolutely not. Another Ravens game? No. Like, there's not one game, Max.
Well, I don't know. The Ravens game, they play tough at home. I'm going to give that team a little credit that game.
Our quarterback threw for 68 yards that game.
Well, it got hurt. Yeah. Like, what? I mean, granted, Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel probably combined for what did Shedeur have? How many passing yards did he have that game?
Probably only had 30. I'm clicking.
Regardless, yeah. I mean, the offense did not play well, but like that defense,
47 yards. So we had 81 yards. Wait, that doesn't make sense. We had 115 yards.
Yeah, and Pat said it. Once Shedeur came in, the tides changed, absolutely. But even in the first half, like that defense was flying around.
I'm not talking about just the defense. I'm talking about the team. There has not been one collective unit on all three sides of the ball this entire year. How do you survive? How, as a coach, can you be like, damn, we're trying to, abstract one game. Okay, you play 17 games in a year. You're telling me 1 out of 17, and then dating back to last year, even more than 17? Hell no. There's something going on.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I'm trying to think. If you had to go back at this Browns season, looking at this Browns season, if you had to go back and hang your hat on one game, what game would you hang your hat on?
It should have been the Titans game.
I agree. And, like you said it, the defense has shown up almost every single week. That game they didn't. That was the reality there. But like I'm trying to think back too.
It's the Green Bay game. You beat a team who came in here who was considered the best. Their defense was considered the second. They were all of these expectations. Michael Parsons just get traded, the whole nine, and then you hold that offense to 10 points and you win at the foot of a special teams when he just missed the game-winning kick prior.
I agree. I mean, that's definitely one of the two I'm thinking of. I kind of think it's the Miami game.
That was the game that I didn't want to. That was the setup game where we thought Kevin should have gotten fired, but we knew he was going to come out and win that game. We'd had zero expectation of that week.
And they still took care of business. We had minimal expectation of the Jets game and they lost. We had minimal expectation of, honestly, a couple of different games this year. Even week one, like you felt the Browns should have won that game. And I know that was Joe Flacco, and I know that they were a 30 whatever yard field goal away from winning that game. But I don't know. It's weird. And the fact that we are debating which one game between two games, which one game you want to hang your hat on in a 3 and whatever you are season right now should tell you all you need to know about the production of the Browns, the belief in whatever is going on. We don't need to say much more about it. It's sad, to be honest with you. It's sad.
What if the Browns don't take a receiver in the draft next year?
I don't I think it has gotten to a point where they will. It is that bad.
I see that. I think they trade for one. I think
that would be okay too. I would be fine with that, or a big free agents. I would be totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. But
like what? But how would you be fine if it's not that tier of receiver though? Like you could be like, yeah, sure, but is he like? I wouldn't be fine if I had to question if he's a wide receiver one.
I'm trying to think who would be in that category.
Terry McLaurin.
I think with his age, I don't think they would, but yeah, I'd be good. Yeah. Terry McLaurin, if you get 2 healthy years out of Terry McLaurin, yeah, I'm in.
Only 2 years though.
But that's what's left on his contract.
Okay. So I'm trying to think who else would fit that lower tier, that mid tier. I'm talking about like that 15 to 20-ish range. Oh my gosh. No, see, I would not be okay with if he was the only one. I wouldn't want that. It'd be like, okay, the only move we made is a guy whose knees have gone out both 2 years in a row, whatever it is, with the contract stuff, with the history that came with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Brandon Ayuk walked through the door in Cleveland, that would, assuming he's healthy and there are no contract disputes, I think that'd be the best receiver since Jarvis Landry, to be honest. He's that good. But there's
Cooper?
Yeah. I think there are so many other factors that play in that make that unrealistic, though.
Cooper had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons as a Cleveland Brown. Do you know how hard that is to do? And
I'm with you. I think Brandon Ayuk is uber talented, and I think that's clear to see. The Niners have seen it. That's why they paid him all this money, regardless of all the other stuff that was going on, injuries, off-field stuff. But the off-field stuff has taken another step this offseason, or this season, not even this offseason. Did you see the Kyle Shanahan interview after the game? Somebody asked a question in regards to Brandon Ayuk because it was like they officially placed him on the non-football, whatever reserve list that he can't play this season. And he said something like, we haven't seen him in months, or we haven't seen him in a long time. Like, he's not there. Like, if you got the Brandon Ayuk that stepped up and played the way he did in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago, yes, please. But I don't know if we're getting that Brandon Ayuk. Long-winded way of saying, if you got Brandon Ayuk, you have to feel comfortable in the off-field stuff. I don't know if the Browns do. Chris Olave is another one. I would like to see Chris Olave. I think all the Ohio people would like that too, with the Ohio State connection.
But as your only wide receiver one with the concussion stuff and all that, that's scary. A great point.
Like there are some valid questions, but I don't know who else would be out there for.
There's one guy. I'm telling you, there's one guy, and I know it's a pipe dream, but I'm telling you, this pipe dream can be real. It's AJ Brown. He is the perfect candidate for the Cleveland Browns to go out there and make. Would you be okay with trading that 28th pick to the Eagles for AJ Brown?
Yeah. I mean, when healthy, that's top 5 receiver in the league.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
You're hired, Max.
Again, that's assuming he's healthy, assuming as his age continues to go up, he doesn't take a huge step back, which we haven't seen. But I don't know. Philly's using him a lot lately. Like he's been playing really well, and Philly has not been playing really well, but he has. So I don't know. I think that dream of him getting traded is less likely. I do think that's still a real thing, but
I love it.
I don't know.
I was going to ask you something, and I can't remember what it was, but I know there was a lot of people who wanted us to talk about a specific player.
Well, we have a couple things. I know Pat talked about the early coaching miscues, 12 men in the huddle as well. I mean, what is that?
Oh my gosh.
It's just, again, all that, the challenges, all of this stuff. Where does that go back to? I don't even need to say it at this point. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it.
Coach.
How do we come back next year saying, oh, let's run it back. Let's do it again.
We want to talk about being a hard-nosed football callous. We want to callous this team. Are you callousing us by being just like incompetent week to week? Bro, they played that on a loop week leading up to preseason. We're going to callous ourselves and be tough this year. There has not been nothing tough about this year. And the calluses that have came about this year is 30 plus years of misery. It has nothing to do with being hardened this year, because going 3-14, this is the epitome of Hugh Jackson saying, I can guarantee you we won't go 1-15 again. Oh, hold my beer. 3-14 ain't gonna cut it. Well, guess what? 3-14 is gonna cut it, and we're gonna put salt in the wound by saying that Myles Garrett's gonna get 25 sacks, and you had a top 1 defense for a span of about 6 weeks to start the season, and you brought in 2 quarterbacks who you thought should have been on this roster, who then aren't even here after week 5 and 6. So, like, where exactly is the callous and the hardening and the togetherness of this team that you preached all offseason? Because it's not here. They're gone.
Yeah. I mean, the only logical, and this is even still a ridiculous stretch, the logical callousing is rookies learning how to lose. That's literally it. Like that. And that's the saddest.
It's the right place.
Exactly. It's the saddest way to look at it, but it's.
Can you do a breakdown on Myles Harden?
I don't want to be honest with you. I saw all of it live. I don't need to see it again.
Do we think I think do I want to say it's unfair? No, he's a professional athlete. He's getting paid to be out here to make plays. I think it goes back to what I told you at the beginning of the year, where I said we're going to have to cut our secondary a little bit of slack because of all of the things that came about. Myles Harden's a 7th round rookie, or a second year player, 7th round. And we're talking about putting him in an every down position.
Yeah,
where that's a tough ask to do. Yeah. When he wasn't in that every down scenario, Myles Harden is a serviceable defensive back.
Yeah,
it's clear he's just not an every down back, and that's what you get when you see him out there on the field every play.
I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but I don't think you need to be an every down DB to tackle.
Fair.
Like that was the thing that stuck out for me. And to be honest with you, obviously NFL players, like defenders get paid to tackle. It's the name of the game. But where does tackling come back to? Your practice.
Mm-hmm.
How is it getting drilled? How much is it getting drilled? How often is it getting drilled?
Didn't they do that in the beginning of the preseason? How important is preseason, Max?
I don't know.
Because didn't they start? I vividly remember them saying, oh yeah, practices are a little harder. Didn't Alex Wright tell us that too? That practices were a little bit different, and they were getting physical a little bit earlier than normal. Maybe he didn't
I don't remember honestly, but I could see it. I mean, we went to a couple of them. Like there were, like you could tell the Browns practice hard. There's no doubt in my mind that these guys.
Pat, is that real? They practiced indoors this week?
Oh, I did not know that. I hope that's not the case.
We need a fact check on that. They practiced indoors this week?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. And why would nobody be talking about that if that is factual?
Dude, what? Like, what? I'm just curious what the thought process is at that point. Controlled environment? What? Like,
oh, I'm gonna have to do some research today. After that, I don't even know how.
I also know Pat mentioned that Shedeur being given the wrong wristband with wrong plays. I mean, what?
They shut that down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? I don't know if you saw the interview.
I didn't see it.
So apparently on the broadcast, one of the broadcasters said that they asked what happened, and she was told that there was apparently a couple adjustments that they made to the play calling sheet and he had the wrong, or they adjusted it and didn't give it to him or something like that.
Mhm.
Then Mary Kay asked Kevin Stefanski about it in the press conference, and he goes, yeah, miscommunication issues. We got that fixed up right away. And so then she goes and continue to ask Shedeur Sanders, and he just straight up says, oh, the play card fell out of the handle. So like, what was it? Why is it a secret of what exactly happened? How does Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, not know that the play call? Because he was like, yeah, I'm not sure. It was miscommunication, but we got it fixed. And then Shador's just like, yeah, play card fell out. How do you not know that? Why couldn't you tell us that? What are you hiding? Like,
I don't
why
know.
is this some secret that the play card fell out?
I don't know. It's just, again, I keep saying the word sad. It just is. It just is. I mean, you see how hard fans ride for this team. You know, I didn't grow up here. I've been adopted into this family, and
I mean, look at
I'm going to go to the Muni. I'm going to go to the Muni lot next Sunday, or this Sunday, and I'm going to see that place packed. Granted, there'll be a lot of Bills fans, but that place is going to be packed. People are going to get up for that game. Fans are going to get up for that game.
Kevin Stefanski's doing his press conference right now as we speak.
Oh man, well, I'm sure we'll get some good sound bites from that. Probably similar sound bites from what we've heard.
So he's still our coach.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Did you think there? I genuinely didn't think there was a chance, but I don't know if you did.
A slim chance because of how bad it looked. Like it's just getting to a point now where it's like, when is enough enough? It's almost like Negan beating in its head at the beginning of that game, where it's like, bro, he's dead. You ain't got to keep pounding his head in with the bat. Like, I feel like we're at that point now. It's like, when is enough?
I think they're just going to ride it out. Although I did just watch the Jets fire their defensive coordinator this morning, and I'm like, well, it's different than a head coach, but I'm like, well, I mean, they're done.
I mean, the Dolphins did it and haven't lost.
Yeah, well, that was midseason. That, to me, that's different.
I mean, so
3 weeks. See if you can get a win against two quality opponents, and then I don't really know what the Bengals are. I don't know.
Hey, Kev, I know you couldn't beat the Jets or the Titans, but hey, here's the Bills, the Steelers, and the Bengals. Good freaking luck, brother. Oh my god. And we're the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, exactly. Well, this Sunday will be fun. We'll have a little preview show for you guys. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening, and we will see you next time on Honor the Land of the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Zay, take us home.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
We'll see you guys next week.